We're in the Mushroom Shop. My name is Jake. Today I want to share with you something that I worked on actually a couple years ago. Me putting out this video has been long overdue, but stuff got real hectic after I made it. So what I'm going to be talking about is a heat exchanger made with plastic sheets called Coroplast. A mushroom farmer named Brad Kuhn made it for his mushroom farm called Top Shelf Mushrooms, and I wanted to make exactly the same thing. He made it seem pretty cool and helpful. So basically, mushroom farms need to provide a lot of airflow for their mushrooms in order for them to develop properly, and this is difficult in winter because it's like heating your house with all the windows and doors totally open. You need to provide them with warmth, but at the same time get rid of all of that warm air right away. So the point of this heat exchanger is that you can recover some of that outgoing heat into the incoming air. This device can recover a lot of heat in the middle of the winter. It doesn't really work in the summer with air conditioning, I've noticed, but it's pretty effective at recovering heat. On really cold days, I've seen it warm the incoming air 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The warmer it is outside, the less effective it is, I've noticed. So maybe when it's 0 degrees Fahrenheit outside, you could recover up to 30 degrees Fahrenheit of heat. But if it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside, maybe you could only recover 15 or 20 degrees Fahrenheit. This investment will take 2 to 3 years to make our money back on the energy savings. But in parts of the country where heating is really expensive, this could pay itself off within the first season. Next, I'm gonna cut to me 2 years ago, and I'm gonna explain to you exactly how I built this device. So for the Coroplast, I got 3 packs of 10 sheets, and I used 3 sheets to cut into strips. Over here I cut 1.5 inch strips and 3 for each layer, and there's going to be 26 layers. And then I cut 13 half-inch strips because there's going to be a half of one per layer as well in the middle. For how I'm going to attach the Coroplast, it's made out of polypropylene, and that's actually one of the hardest materials to glue because it's very chemically resistant. So I did a bunch of research, and there are epoxies that you can use, but those are really expensive, and it would be really time consuming to mix epoxy for 26 layers of Coroplast. So I found that hot glue is one of the better options for polypropylene. And here I got Super Tack 500. This is 4 pounds of glue sticks. It's from the gluegun.com. And for the actual glue gun I'm using, this is like a professional version. Okay, so this is the layout that I'm going to use for the spacers in between each layer. So at the ends you have 4-foot strips. So I made a pile of 4-foot strips here. Then I have 77-inch strips that go along the edge here and here. And then I have 10-inch strips that also go on the sides to provide a 6-inch gap because I'm going to be using 6-inch ducting. And then I also have the 4-foot skinnier spacers to put one just right in the middle there. And then basically you just glue these to the sheet of Coroplast and then repeat the steps. So we just got done gluing together all of the layers. It took about 10-15 minutes to glue each layer, and there's about I think there's 25 layers because we ended up saving one to put pieces on the sides. So I just wanted to illustrate a little bit better how this works. You can see the gaps here where there's no little edge piece on either side. So to illustrate it, I'm going to put this fan up to it. And then on the other side over here, I'm going to hold this piece of paper towel up so you can watch that air's coming out. So the air goes in that one side and is blowing out this side, and that's how it's going to transfer the heat that flows through the sheets of coroplast. I got an 18-inch long 5/16 drill bit, and then I got threaded rods. These are each 3-foot threaded rods, and I'm going to cut them to size. And then I got washers and bolts. Okay, so I put the threaded rod through each of the holes and I cut it off to length, and then I put a washer and a nut on each side, and then I tighten those so they're holding really firmly. And next I'm going to attach 2-inch wide strips of plywood to the sides of the heat exchanger, so I have something to attach it to the side of the shipping container with. I'm going to be drilling through the wall of the shipping container into these pieces of wood, and in order to attach the plastic to the wood, I'm going to be using an epoxy, and this epoxy is specifically for plastic, but it also can work on different materials. I figured I'd use this instead of the glue sticks because the glue sticks were specifically just for plastic. So I'm going to be going with these. And next I'm going to glue a strip of wood between each bolt on both sides. What I can get. So you can see that I set the exchanger on some concrete pavers so the air can exhaust out the bottom. And that's the hole that I drilled on the wrong side. This is the side that it's supposed to be on. You can see that I drew Sharpie around where the wood attaches, so I knew where to drill the holes into the wood. You can see I attached some ducting to the side where the intake is supposed to go. So this is something that I didn't film at all. It's making the box that fits on top of the plastic there. So that was really simple. It's just the width of the coroplast as well as the depth. I made it about 18 inches tall, and I held all the pieces of wood together with these just corner brackets. And then of course I have a piece of wood that sits on top that acts as the lid, and it's nice to have a lid that you can take it on and off easily for cleaning. In the back of that box, up next to the shipping container, there is a duct that leads into it. A fan is sucking air out of the fruiting room and blowing the air into that box, and when the top is on it, this creates pressure that forces air down through the heat exchanger, and that's what heats up the plastic sheets and warms up the incoming air. That's about it as far as building the heat exchanger. Something I wanted to touch on is the maintenance of it. So about once a month I get up on a ladder and I vacuum out the top part of the heat exchanger because the fruiting room is venting into that, and so spores can build up. It's usually pretty dry in there, so it's really easy to clean. I just vacuum it up with a shop vac, and then I take a little pressure washer I have. I spray out all the spores down through the heat exchanger, and that makes sure it doesn't get clogged at all. I hope you find this as useful as I did. I'll link the original video where I saw this so you can check out the original. Thank you for watching. See ya.